Hello and welcome to the Field Report. I'm Sergeant Mitch Ternay. Social scientists serve as specialized interpreters for coalition forces by painting a vivid picture of the human element in Afghanistan. Sergeant Nathaniel Phillips takes a closer look.
Partnerships anywhere can be challenging, but in few places are they more valuable than Afghanistan. The Human Terrain Teams, or HTTs, play a critical role in overcoming this challenge by assisting coalition forces in enhancing their partnerships with the government of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, or JBLM.
It's acting as like a listener for both sides to see how those two can mesh together in a more beneficial way.
The HTTs are comprised of social scientists and research managers and are partnered with a brigade commander. They travel across the brigade's area of operation, interviewing local Afghans and JBLM officials about life in their area. On this trip, they are visiting the Dan district to learn what channels the local Afghans must use to have their voices heard by JBLM.
A village will come up with ideas of what they need in their village. They'll tell the Malik. The Malik might go to the cluster leader or might go to the district governor, but they do it through a shura to decide which projects that are beneficial for this area or not.
The efforts of the HTTs are helping the coalition forces and their Afghan partners rebuild a society that is emerging from over 30 years of war and oppression. Reporting for Combined Task Force Arrowhead in southern Afghanistan, I'm Army Sergeant Nathaniel Phillips.
Getting a casualty from the battlefield to the next level of care is a task every soldier heading downrange needs to know. Sergeant Nathan Bowen is with a group of Joint Base Lewis McChord engineers going through this training, many for the first time.
That you want to do?
It's certainly not business as usual for this group of engineers from the 557th Engineer Company out of Joint Base Lewis McChord. Today, they're getting an introduction to medevac training during a rotation at Orchard Combat Training Center in Idaho. Command Sergeant Major David Berlinguet of the 1st of the 183rd Attack Reconnaissance Squadron is walking them through extraction techniques.
The other thing is at the end of this,
explaining the ins and outs of the various methods.
And that's why we call it a 110 breakaway.
This is new training for many of these engineers, some of whom have yet to deploy for the first time. They watch intently and make sure they're understanding how to perform the tasks correctly.
That's what you want to keep them in.
Although this isn't his bread and butter, PFC Joshua Gems knows this information could prove invaluable downrange.
Getting that patient, to safety as quick as possible, getting them on that bird, make sure they're secure, and definitely making sure yourself is secure if you happen to be the deployer.
Private Gems is just a few months out of basic training, but he's focused on the goals of the upcoming deployment.
Now I'm ready to, move some more earth and go down and do this deployment and come home with all my battle buddies and all my leaders.
He boards a Black Hawk helicopter to wrap up the training, another first for him, and takes off for the rest of the mission. From Orchard Combat Training Center, Idaho, I'm Army Sergeant Nathan Bowen.
The Army's combat vehicles are intricate machines, and it's up to maintenance soldiers on JBLM to keep them rolling. That's why they're using a special tool to save time and money. It's complex, loud, and expensive, but this vertical mill is paying for itself. The mill is a precise, computer-controlled machine that can carve nearly any piece or part for Army equipment like the Stryker combat vehicle. On such high-tech machines, even the smallest parts, like the bracket on the long-range Advanced Scout Surveillance System, can carry a big price tag.
If those cost $3,500 a piece, our initial order was for 20 of those. With just those 20 brackets for the LRAS, we paid for this $70,000 machine.
That's because the vertical mill can produce that same $3,500 part for less than $1 in materials and a fraction of the time it would take to order that part from a supplier, saving JBLM units time, the Army money, and keeping soldiers and their equipment mission ready. Some JBLM non-commissioned officers provide unique physical training specially tailored for pregnant soldiers. Army Sergeant Ashlyn Ferguson gives us a glimpse at how those NCOs are learning the skills they need to lead.
A handful of non-commissioned officers stationed at Joint Base Lewis McChord trained to become exercise leaders for the Army's Pregnancy Postpartum Physical Training Program, or P3T program. The P3T program is designed to safely address the specific fitness needs of soldiers during and after pregnancy.
It's a lot of exercise that the pregnant soldier cannot do in unit PT, but as far as the pregnancy program, the exercises are geared for them. So that's why it's so important for them to enroll in the program.
Instructors learn to supervise exercise routines like circuit training, water aerobics, and step class.
You're in a group with other people, so you're all doing it together, and I think it's a great thing. I really do. I wish they would have had something back during that time, you know, for the women that were pregnant while I was going through.
This program lowers the risk of complications during pregnancy and lowers healthcare costs throughout the Army. For the Field Report, I'm Army Sergeant Ashlyn Ferguson.
Coming up, we'll show you how senior NCOs are following in the footsteps of Mongol warriors. It only takes one person to spread the flu virus. Can you tell which person here has the flu? Don't spread the flu. Wash your hands. Welcome back. Team building is a key component of training. Specialist Heath Graham tells how one JBLM medical unit added competition to create cohesion.
Where to go, medicine warrior?
The 56th Multifunctional Medical Battalion paired up soldiers to compete in this year's Medicine Warrior Leader Challenge.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Winning the challenge is the goal, but the emphasis is put on team building.
Let's go, Doc. Come on, talk, communicate.
We just want to be able to learn how to work together as a team and also develop our leadership skills as well.
As team unity would set the standard for leadership in the competition.
Halfway there. That's the main point of the whole competition, is to develop leadership skills. So even if we don't win, we just want to at least take something from it, learn something more to develop ourselves.
Feels like it's broken?
The team performances will help determine battalion representatives for the Best Medic competition at Fort Sam Houston, Texas. For the Field Report, I'm Specialist Heath Graham.
NCOs are the backbone of the Army and must be able to lead by example to be effective. Specialist Josiah Dixon takes us along with a group of senior NCOs as they set the example by testing their mental and physical limits during a grueling 58-hour event.
Senior non-commissioned officers from Joint Base Lewis McChord endured hunger, exhaustion, and the elements as part of a training and team-building exercise known as Munga Dai. The event got its name from a rigorous selection process used by Genghis Khan to select strong and tough leaders for his fighting force. Likewise, participants were required to prove themselves during a series of demanding tests and obstacles.
You really want to see what kind of leader, what kind of team player they are. Take the food away from them, take their sleep away from them, put heavy equipment on them to test their physical limits. Then you really see who the true leaders are.
Members of the Army, Air Force, and Marine Corps spent almost 3 days with little food or sleep. They conducted simulated combat missions around the base, including an air assault and multiple night raids on enemy-occupied villages. The event brought members of various JBLM units together and required them to work as a team, something participants say is a valuable tool for success across the installation.
Teams are formed at all levels, you know, from squad fire teams all the way up to corps level teams. And you know, anytime you can bring all those teammates together to work on a common task, I mean, all you're doing is strengthening the team.
Only 62 of the original 80 participants crossed the finish line at American Lake, earning the title Munga Dai Warrior. For the Field Report, I'm Specialist Josiah Dixon.
That does it for this edition of the Field Report. With the election just around the corner, we asked why voting is important to you. We leave you with a few of the responses from the JBLM community. I'm Sergeant Mitch Ternay. Thanks for watching.
First of all, you have to choose the leader who are going to make an impact on your life and in the life of your family and even the life of the country in generations to come.
For me personally, because it's one of the ways that I can express how I feel, what I feel, and if I'm going to complain, then I need to have a valid reason. If I don't vote, then I shouldn't complain.
Being citizens of the U.S., it's one of our constitutional rights, and I think it's good to exercise that and be participants in our democratic process and partly what we defend as soldiers. So I think it's good to go out there and say, this is my choice, and participate.